All right, so our first question is, describe your living situation as a child. Did you live in a house or an apartment?
In a house.
And it asks about siblings. I know you have siblings. How many siblings did you have?
I have 2 brothers and 2 sisters.
Okay. Were you the oldest, youngest, in the middle somewhere?
I was in the middle.
Okay. What is your most vivid, positive childhood memory? What's a happy memory you remember from your childhood?
I was raised on a farm and raising the animals and feeding the animals and taking care of the crops and everything else connected with the farm work. I enjoyed it all.
Okay. Did you have any favorite toys, games, or activities that you did?
Yes, we had motorbikes.
Okay.
And that was our biggest enjoyment, go for a ride whenever we had time.
Did you have a favorite gift you received? Like, do you remember receiving any special Christmas present or birthday present?
My father bought me a bicycle when I was 14 years old, and it was a Schwinn, and it was a pretty red one.
Yeah.
That was one that I always remember.
That's pretty cool. Was there a major historical event that you remember the most from when you were young?
Like JFK being shot?
Do you remember anything like
Elvis dying?
Oh yeah. Yeah, Elvis died. That was a big shock. When John Kennedy got assassinated, that was a big shock.
What about the Vietnam War? Do you remember anything about the Vietnam War?
That went on for 20 years, which was a long time.
I actually didn't know it was 20 years old.
Yeah.
What piece of advice do you wish you would have received or listened to? Or what would you give to the future kids of today?
Well, you got to stay with the times. You can't lose track of things. You have to keep up and know what's going on at all times. And you still have to believe in our government, even though a lot of things the government does is not right. But that's what we have to protect us and the country. So we have to believe in it and trust it.
What has been the biggest change you have seen in people or society since you were young?
Right now, it seems like people with a lot of money, they're kind of on one side of the road, and the people that are medium or have lesser amounts of money, they're on the other side of the road.
It's quite split. Do you have any family traditions that you really liked, or you would recommend to us to keep on?
Keep on with the Christmas. Keep on with your birthdays, and the rest of the holidays.
Okay.
They're all important, and they all stand for something.
One thing that I wish my kids got to do was experience the hunting shack and all the different times at the hunting shack, like sledding in the winter and hunting and that kind of thing. I'm sad that they didn't experience that.
Well, they got time yet.
Yeah.
We got time yet.
This one's pretty cool. Do you remember any major inventions?
Yeah, basically. Probably one is the snowmobile that came out in the 60s, and I would have been like 10 years old when they first started.
That had to have been cool.
And as the years progressed, well, the machines followed and got better and faster and more efficient.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the things. And then I always was a part-time logger. So when I started with a horse, and then I progressed to a little small bulldozer, and then what they call the rubber-tired skidder, and now they have the processor, which is another major improvement. So yeah, there was lots of things that I seen that were invented and grew with the time.
What about TVs compared to at the very beginning compared to now? Is that a lot different? The TV?
Yeah.
Black and white initially, right?
Yeah, black and white. We got 2 channels, Channel 3 and Channel 6.
Did you always want to be a logger, or did you have a certain thing you wanted to be when you were
No,
older?
I guess from in high school, I wanted to be a logger already.
Okay.
Because on the home farm there on the weekends, I would take the farm horse and I would cut wood that was along the rock piles and the stone piles and whatnot. And, the first couple loads was just small loads, but it was still money in the end.
Did you have a favorite subject in school?
I kinda like biology.
That's my favorite. Yeah, I like that
And,
one too.
I kinda like that. And I guess I like math somewhat.
Joe does too.
Mm-hmm.
We'll end with this one. Do you know why you were named your first and middle name, or like, do you have any idea of?
Well, Mom told me when she named me Gerald, she could not make, because Gerald normally is spelt with a G.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Mom could not make a G,
Oh, okay.
but she could make a beautiful J.
So she spelled it with J.
So then my name is Gerald, and my middle name then is Frank,
Okay.
and that was my father's name, first name.
And you're the oldest of the boys.
So Nikki and I looked up, and of the thousands of people that are Gerald Weinberger, I'm the only one that's Gerald Frank Weinberger spelled with a J.
That's pretty cool. Well, thank you for letting me interview you.
Yeah.
Tell her how old you are.
Yeah.
Oh, as of today, I'm 76 years old.
Wow. One thing that was similar is he has a J name, and I actually have a J name too. He told a pretty funny story about how he got his name, and I actually got my name in like a kind of silly way too. My mom was just kind of like looking at DVDs for names, and she saw Jordana on the back of a DVD, and then she also just like tweaked the name, how his name was, like changed, and so she added an N, so it was ANNA instead of ANA. And my grandpa, his mom, changed it to a J instead of a G. Another thing was, he said that his favorite subject was biology, which is also my favorite subject. Well, obviously the age, and like the years and the decades that we grew up in, and being a guy versus being a girl. But one big difference is that, well, he had brothers and sisters, but he had brothers, and I only have one brother. And then he also grew up on a farm with plants and animals. And I very much so have not grown on a farm, and I have basically pretty much grown up in suburbs my whole life. He didn't really say anything to give me an answer for this, but I'd probably say that the world's changed in a positive way, because like we've learned a lot from then. Like my grandpa's obviously sick with cancer, and like back then during his childhood, for someone to be diagnosed with cancer was a pretty big thing, and so like now it's pretty positive that we have the technology to be able to treat people who have cancer. That's a big thing, is how we've grown in technology. That can also be a negative. And also he talked about actually his vehicles, like he talked about the snowmobile, I think. Yeah, and that was a positive change, because back then they didn't have all these cool things like the snowmobile, and so you can look at that from a positive aspect, saying like, hey, all these people who can go snowmobiling and like they love it, and back then they didn't have that. And then TV, he also talked about TV, and I think my mom mentioned it too. He said that they only had 2 channels and it was black and white, and now we got 3D, 4D movies. Plus Netflix, where you can pick whatever movie you want. That's pretty positive. My grandpa grew up in a small town of like 300 people up north in northern Wisconsin. And so everyone would hang out and everyone would like get to know each other, and so everyone knew each other. And you know, they were always throwing parties, being so friendly to their neighbors and just everyone who lived in town. And it was always like, hey, have you heard how Bob is doing? And that's, you know, not really common now, because obviously we have social media, and so I especially look at social media in a very negative way, way more than I feel like most teenagers, you know, would like to look at it. But we just don't host parties, you know, we don't just walk into school and say, hey, party at my house, anyone's welcome to come. It's, you know, text and, oh, hey, do you want to come over, you know? And I think, like, I would love to do that. And I actually do in some ways. And that's also the whole thing of having no technology, no screens, you know, no Google, no AI. I mean, even Google, like, I feel as though, I'm not a big fan of AI. And I don't know, I think it would be easier to grow up in a world where that doesn't exist. So you don't have to even worry about considering using it. And then that way, like, I don't know, you can't be accused of using it even though you didn't, you know? And also, again, like, I would like to just walk into class and be like, hey, I'm having a party at my house, anyone is welcome to come, instead of, you know, all this drama on social media. And also, the, you know, playing outside and just playing with people instead of playing on our phones. It's quite much. I learned a lot, because I've never really actually, you know, gotten to sit down and actually have quite a good conversation like that with my grandpa before. And he had said that he had never been interviewed before, so it was kind of fun and exciting for him too. But yeah, the living on a farm, that was pretty interesting. I mean, obviously I knew that. I mean, I learned that the Vietnam War was 20 years long. I didn't really know that. And I guess I didn't really like, I don't know what I'm saying. I guess I didn't really like acknowledge or like think that like my grandpa was alive during the Vietnam War, JFK's assassination, and like Elvis Presley's death. To me, that sounds like 100 years ago. I sort of think that my grandpa lived through that is quite crazy to think.